Randy Gentry,
Here.
Nancy Alsop,
Here.
Brenda Wilson,
Here.
David Thompson,
Here.
Brad Anderson,
Here.
Vicky Wager,
Here.
Steve Ellis.
Councilman Ellis did advise me he had a previous commitment. Corrective Journal of Proceeding Meetings if needed. June 3rd, 2025, Sunshine Meeting. It's on page 15 of our booklet. If there are no corrections, I will take a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
I second it.
Motion to approve by Councilwoman Wilson, motion to second by Councilwoman Alsop. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. June 10th, 2025, executive session, page 19 of our booklet.
Special call? Motion to approve. Second.
Motion to approve by Councilwoman Wager, second by Councilwoman Wilson. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. And special call meeting, page 20, June 10th, 2025, same day.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Councilwoman Wilson, second by Councilman Anderson. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. June 10th, 2025, meeting, page 2022. If there are no corrections, I will take a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Wilson, second by Councilman Anderson. Those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, motion passes. Communications from elected officials, other officials, or agencies of the county. Any? Hearing none.
Wait a minute. Oh, I thought Mike was coming up. I'll have something on the budget.
Okay, I got you down here. Next up, Hamilton Center update. It's like page 6 of our. Hello?
Good evening. I'm Susanna Overholt. I'm an attorney for the Hamilton Center.
I think the question last week, I think there were a few. First was the compliance, what was done in order to comply with the new state law.
In order to comply, the Hamilton Center reviewed the salaries of individuals employed by the Community Mental Health Center and reduced the salary of a non-clinical employee. The only non-clinical employee who was at $400,000 or more, and that was reduced to be below that $400,000 threshold. And I should say compensation, not just salary, excuse me, it was, the compensation was reduced to be below the threshold.
Benefits and all, correct?
Yes.
Any questions from council? Last week, what else was asked for? Did we ask for board members?
Board member list.
A board member list for 2025?
Okay, my understanding is that that was walked over to the council office.
I don't believe so.
We can provide it, again, it's also on the Hamilton Center website, but we can provide a list.
Or I also asked for minutes, I believe, for 2025 for board minutes. Are they on the website as well?
The board minutes are not, but we can get the minutes to you.
Okay, thank you. Michael, you have any questions? Any
No.
other questions from council? I appreciate it, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
B, public safety lit options for distributions to units in 2026. This was the loose paper in our booklet. This is something we do every year, and I believe we're currently at the 65-35, correct?
Page is it?
That's- Is this something we need to approve?
Yes.
Make a motion to approve?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions from council concerning this?
I do.
Councilman Anderson?
The question that we have for Riley tonight, does that interfere with any of this?
No, it wouldn't, Commissioner Anderson. I mean, this is, in essence, a discretionary decision related to the breakdown that they have for, runs and levy. It has no bearing on the other
The budget?
items in their budget
Okay.
related to their necessary expenditures.
Okay. I'd make a motion to approve.
Whoop.
Oh, sorry.
I had a
Yeah,
question, sorry.
Go ahead.
You
I'll
want to
withdraw my
continue, and then
motion.
I can do it in discussion, except that if you've got a motion on the floor.
I can withdraw my motion if you
Okay.
comment.
I'd like to know, and I don't even know who to ask, how do these numbers get developed?
I mean, the run information is accumulated, I'll try to answer the question, Councilman Gentry. The run information is accumulated from 911. Their system breaks down every phone call that they get by township and address to determine who the appropriate response call should go to. So they provide us that information. The levy is information that we have access to already. And then the breakout of that, the distribution combinations, are just the various options that are available to the council in terms of a percentage as to how you want to determine their distribution. Essentially, as part of the public safety income tax, all units get a distribution. So the units in this county are the towns of Sealyville, Riley, and West Terre Haute, and the city of Terre Haute, and then the county. So those 5 entities share in the public safety lit tax rate. The county also chooses to distribute a portion of its rate out to local fire departments that cover an area bigger than those towns, to provide supplemental public safety maintenance, equipment, other necessary needs for those smaller township voluntary fire districts.
So on the paper that we have in front of us, there's multiple distribution combinations that range from 40R/60L, and it goes all the way over to 70R, 30L, and we have one column that's highlighted at 65R, 35L. What, I mean, are we picking which one, or?
Yes, yes.
And do we know why the 65R 35L is highlighted as, I mean, is that what we've always
Last
done in the
year's.
past?
Yes. And it's just you're comparing the run information versus the levy information. So the 40, 60, puts more emphasis on the levy. The 65R, 35L puts more emphasis on a greater number of runs. So it has been geared towards those entities that are performing more of the runs, but that is a discretionary decision that is up to the council.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Further comment from council? With that, I will take a motion.
Make a motion, we approve?
Motion to approve the 6535
Yes.
by Councilman Anderson. Do I hear a second?
Second.
And a second by Councilwoman Wilson. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Randy Gentry,
Yes.
Nancy Alsop,
Aye.
Brenda Wilson,
Aye.
Steve Ellis, Vicky Wager,
Aye.
Brad Anderson,
Aye.
David Thompson.
Aye. Motion passes 6-0. Next, reports from committees. Annual Budget Committee update. Councilman Anderson.
Well, we've met at least 4 times now and been given quite a bit of information that's new to us, and we're trying to make sure we get it all in. We've talked to most of the office holders, worked with them on their budgets. We've got a couple yet to meet with, but most everything is, at least we've looked at it. Now we're looking at some more information on income and stuff that's coming in.
Thank you. Do you have a follow-up meeting, or when your next meeting is?
Yes. Next Monday.
10 a.m.
Next Monday. Any questions from council?
Good job.
Thank you. Next up, resolutions and ordinances other than appropriations. Resolution of reallocation of existing appropriation, 2025-05, group homes, transfer of funds, page 7.
Mr. President, members of the council, Norm Loudermilk, Executive Director of Butte County Home for Children. We discussed this last week, but I have some more information to hand out. Which one is this?
This is the $3,200 from vehicles
Yep.
to equipment new.
So this is for a shed. We don't have any storage at the Glen Home, and so we purchased a shed. We moved some money to cover the total cost of $3,400, but we need the remaining transfer. This is an out-of-series transfer, so we have to come before the council. We purchased the shed locally from a place out on 46, and so we're going to, if money's approved tonight, we'll process the invoice and get it paid for by Thursday, and then hopefully we can start storing stuff.
Questions from council?
Motion
Take a-
to approve.
Motion to approve by Councilwoman Wilson,
Second.
A second by Councilman Anderson. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Randy Gentry,
Aye.
Nancy Alsop.
Aye.
Brenda Wilson,
Aye.
Steve Ellis, Vicky Wager,
Aye.
Brad Anderson,
Aye.
David Thompson.
Aye. Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Ordinances relating to appropriations. Additional appropriation 2025-40, group homes, Glen Home and Carpenter Home Repair. It's on page 8 of our booklet.
Just 48,000.
76.
76. Mr. President, member of the council, Norm Lottenrock, Executive Director of the Home for Children. I think before I start with getting into some specifics, I want to hand out some information to everyone.
Thank you.
And then I also have, So the first handout that I gave you is just a history of the Home for Children. I mean, it's important to understand how long we've been in existence and why it's important to the people of this community that the group homes stay. And I only bring this up because I just want everyone to understand that what we're voting on is not just some random spending of the money, but this has been an institution that started, in 1900 with the building of the Glen Orphanage, and then moved to a group home, sometime after that. But the home as it sits today, in the 1978, 79 timeframe, 3 properties were purchased. The Nickerson home, which is 64 Gilbert, the Carpenter home, which is up on Rose Hill, 3646 Rose Hill, and then the Glen home at 1308 South 6th. And so those homes were the 3 group homes for the kids. And I'll mess this up, but I believe that the Carpenter home was girls only, the Nickerson home was boys only, and then the Glen home was co-ed. So over time, they took kids, and then, COVID hit, and they kind of stopped taking them. But things changed, a lot of disrepair in some of the homes. In the commissioner's eyes, they felt like that the Nickerson home needed to be removed from the, group home, stock, if you will. And so we stopped taking kids there, and we gave up the license. And that license was given up in 2024, and so we, or maybe even before that, but we only have 2 licenses now. The Carpenter home, which is licensed for girls, and the Glen home, which right now is licensed for boys and girls. So I wanted to kind of give you that little bit of information so you'd understand that, it's just not a recent endeavor, that we've been taking care of children that have been victims of abuse or neglect, since the 1900s. And so, we'd like to continue on with that, and in our effort to, reinvigorate the Glen home and also the Carpenter home, we've asked for some help from the general fund, and of course, we've also asked for some help from our non-reverting fund. So we'll speak to the $76,000 appropriation, and that really is based on a few quotes that I got. Obviously, if you appropriate $76,700, then anything we do won't exceed that, because that's all I got. So in my efforts to satisfy people. I've received a quote from CDE Electric, from Crossroads Electric, from Quality Electric. And so, and I've been turned down, if you will, from Crown Electric and
American.
American Electric. Thanks. I was having a moment. So, so we've done our due diligence in trying to find, the most responsible and responsive bidder, which we're not required to do, but just someone to give us some quotes to find the best price possible that will do the service. And that's to bring the Glen home on South Sixth to code. When we say to code, it's the electric code to 2014, which is all the city requires. And so you don't want to bring it to the 2025 code. But so that's part of the 76,000. Bids range from 30,000 to high 30s, or I'm sorry, from 30,000 to 68,000 on the quotes I've received. And I've shared those quotes with the other people that are bidding on it, if you will, so they'll have an idea, so apples and apples, so we all know we're speaking the same electrical language to make sure that the quotes are equal and fair across the board. And I've got, quotes from 31,000, 35,000, 52,000, 68,000. So I'll obviously go to the commissioners, and then, they will select who will do the work, not me. The other thing that we'd like to do, and this is pretty specific, but is underneath the Carpenter home is a moisture problem. We've discussed this before, but there's an issue with the way the house was built. It's low, and the fact that it's not graded properly, and so over 40, 50 years, it's just retained water. So we've got a quote for guttering, $2,000-ish for the guttering, which we're going to try to pay for out of the next appropriation. And then we've got the crawl space remediation, which does mold and fungus remediation. It doesn't have a lot of mold. It doesn't have a lot of fungus. It isn't a health issue, but whenever you have moisture, you're going to have that. So just to make sure in the crawl space, they're doing mold remediation. We're doing perimeter drains and sump pump. We're doing floor joist repair. There's roughly 35 joists that need either repaired, replaced, or scissored. So the floor's not sinking. We don't walk on it. It's not spongy, but they felt the need to replace those, and they're the experts, so I'm not going to argue with them. Things that aren't on here, we talked about the extra 10 grand, is a French drain, which I have a degree in criminology, so I have no clue what that means. But it's supposed to get water away from the house, maybe percolate in the yard, or a pop-up drain somewhere out. If you drive by the home, if you're up in the north end, up in North Terre Haute, it's got a huge backyard, and there's a cornfield to the north of it. So, we could stretch that drain out a ways, and we have plenty of room. We're not encroaching on anybody. So, so that'd be a good thing. So I think the extra 10,000 we talked about will cover that type of excavating work, removal of some sidewalks that will be in the area that are in the way, some of the grading that needs to be done, and then that drain itself. So that's kind of where some of that issue is. And I'm sorry if it's confusing. Just know that whatever we appropriate, I promise, obviously we'll never spend more than that, and we'll work within the budget that you give us to do these repairs. The last thing is the air conditioning units up there were probably put there when the Glen home was built in 1900s. So we need to replace those. One of them just simply doesn't work at all, and the other one's not big enough to handle cooling the whole house. So we have a proposal from Gibson Services, which is one of the vendors for the county that typically does the work and has done some other repairs and replacements of heating and air conditioning units for the county. One of those is 9,000 for a 2.5 ton, and one's 8,900 for a 2 ton. So about a $60 difference between the two. And so that's just for the air conditioning units only. Today I had a conversation with Commissioner Klinkenbeard, and so we're going to get a couple more quotes on those before the commissioners make their decision. We just didn't get any more quotes than that because they did most of the work for the county, and so I left it at that. But he wants to get a couple more quotes, so we're going to go out and get some more quotes so we have those before any decision is made. And I can forward those to you via email if you'd like to see the other quotes or just the fact that, trust me, we're going to get them. So, so that's what the $76,700 will pay for. Replacing the air conditioning units, remediating the problems with the moisture and the crawl space and the drainage that we have, the issues with that, grading the yard and putting the perimeter and French drain in, and then, yeah, and then of course the electrical work at the Glen Home. So I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Do you have a date when the stuff will be done?
So, no. I mean,
I know.
as quick as we can get the county to write the check. So if you guys approve it tonight, know that tomorrow I'll be on the phone getting the other estimates. Probably next Tuesday, I would think, at the commissioners' meeting, all this will be discussed and they will, be announcing. Or if they don't want to do that, that's fine. I can't, ask I don't know what they'll do, but as quickly as possible. I think that will all be done within, 30 days. Even the crawl space work, they said they could get done within 30 to 45 days.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it takes a while to do that.
Yeah.
Mr. President.
Joists and everything.
Mr.
They
President.
Jack the house up.
Councilman Gentry?
I have, I sent you a text, by the way, was able to retrieve most of the numbers that I wanted to review. Some of it I'll hold till we discuss on the other parts of the appropriations you're asking for. The one thing that bothers me more than anything right now is I think it's important to understand that I'm not knocking this effort. I think that we've taken something that was in pretty bad shape as a program, and we are trying to improve and make things better. But one thing that really kind of got to me at the Sunshine meeting a week ago, Mr. Loudermilk, was that I asked a very pointed question about when would you be able to move kids in, and you said immediately, and it took about 5 minutes or less for Commissioner Klinkenberg to approach me after the meeting and said that there was no way that we could move children into that home. I'm talking about the Rose Hill home, until that work was completed. And then in a conversation with a couple of my council members as well, they said that it would be very difficult to, or quite frankly, probably unsafe to move children into that home until the work was complete. So as we discuss this, what you're asking for now is the fix on the money, but I'm going to bring this up to you here shortly in regards to when do we need to fund the actual employees, and when do we need to get employees in there, because we really, I think, as Councilman Anderson just asked, we don't know when that facility is going to be ready to take the children. Also, one of the other things that bothers me is, does DCS have awareness that we currently are housing 7 juveniles at a home that has knob and tube that I don't think anywhere in Commissioner Morris is here, and I don't want to put him on the spot because I'm not sure he's following any of this, but I don't know of anywhere else in the county that knob and tube would be permissible for a multi-residential unit. And I'm curious as to One, does DCS even know that we've got 7 children in that type of a scenario? What kind of fire hazard? And Mr. Loudermilk, you worked for the fire department for a while, so you probably know that answer better than I do. But I do have concern that we are, in our attempt to get this program standing up and operating, are we rushing this at the detriment to the children in the desire to keep our employees employed? And I mean, there was a lot of back and forth on this, Mr. Loudermilk, as you know, as this program had kind of ceased to exist. I'm just concerned for the children's safety and well-being, that if we're getting ready to ask for this money to redo the electric at, I'm guessing it's the house on Gilbert, correct?
6th Street.
6th Street. I don't want to see tomorrow we have a fire and the doggone place burns down and we hurt 3 or 4 children in our endeavor to try to do good things. That bothers me a great deal. So you've been in charge of this thing since February, and I'm just like to get some answers for the public in regards to, is this a safe location? Does DCS, are they aware of the current, and does this house, you just said that it has to be brought up to code.
Ask your question and I'll answer it.
Yeah, well, that's my question.
Which one? You asked several of them.
Answer them all.
Ask me again. I don't have a memory and I didn't write each one down specifically. So you ask me a question and give me a chance to respond.
Okay. Last meeting, Sunshine meeting, you said that you were prepared to move the children into Rose Hill immediately. I'm told right after the meeting by Commissioner Klinkenbeard that that was not a possibility. A couple of council members that have some experience with buildings say that you cannot do that. You cannot move children into that home until the work is complete.
So I'm not a construction guy. I know that the home was lived in as it is right now with no improvements and approved by DCS for years. We didn't know that there was a mold problem with the crawl space, so we would have addressed it before the bed bugs. Can we remediate mold in a home with someone living in it? There's not mold in the home. There was mold in the crawl space. Does it still present a problem? Well, Commissioner Klinkenbeard believes that there is. When he expressed that concern to me, that's fine. You know, the amount of time that it would take to vet people, to advertise for employees, to hire the people, to get approved by DCS with the inspection, to have the State Department of Health come in and conduct their inspection, because the home is in idle. So when I say we can move the kids in immediately, well, maybe I misspoke. Maybe it's not tomorrow, if that's what your definition of immediate is. I think immediately would be as soon as we get things ready to go. That means that we can work on the house while we're advertising the positions, while we're interviewing for employees, while we're getting the inspection done through DCS as well as through the State Department of Health. And when we receive those approvals, you know, then we'll be moving the kids in. There's got to be time to train the staff when they get hired, because on a different appropriation, we're asking for 5 employees. 5 employees, it's going to take probably 3 to 4 weeks before they're able to do all the work to get hired, before they're able to do the background investigations. I mean, at minimum, we're waiting right now on our 4th week for someone that we did a background check on. But we can't begin to do those background checks or begin to hire until we have money in place to do so. So, you know, will we be moving kids in tomorrow? No. Will the first thing they do is remediate the mold? I don't know. I don't know what they do. But it is not unsafe to be there. It's not unsafe to stay there. If it is, and they've been unsafe for the last 25 years, because the house hasn't changed for that time. So this isn't something that I caused or that I'm responsible for. It's something I inherited that we're trying to fix and move forward as quickly as possible. But we don't have to do one thing at a time. We don't have to repair the house and then decide, okay, now let's go ahead and hire. And then hire people and then decide, okay, now let's go ahead and take kids. I mean, we can do those things all at the same time so that we are keeping our license going, you know, advertising. We have to advertise for a week. So there's a week that they're gonna be working. And then we have to advertise, we have to interview, so there's another week of interviews. And there's 2 or 3 weeks of background investigations and fingerprinting and all the things. Then we have at least 40 hours worth of training that has to happen before they can work with the kids. So now we're looking at September, Labor Day-ish, before we're even talking about, which is what I told you before, that we're talking about before we can even begin to have people in the home. So that's a month and a half, month and a week, that we can be working on the house to remediate. And then we have to take kids. Well, we'll take kids as they are referred. Well, there may not be a girl referred for a couple of days or a month or a week or whatever. And so, yes, we have to have employees in place in case they're referred. But when they are referred, then we would be able to accept them at the same time that we're still putting that perimeter drain in and putting the French drain in and doing some excavation work and taking care of the guttering, and maybe even putting the AC units in. So I know what's most important, and that's the crawl space remediation. But is it unsafe up there? No. And Mr. Klinkenbeer and I never had a discussion about the timetable by which those kids would move in. I think we're splitting hairs. I'm not gonna move the kids anywhere that's unsafe.
Okay, next question is regarding does DCS, are they aware of the knob and tube electrical that's currently at the other home where the 7 children are currently? Are they aware of that?
Yeah, so any code that you have in an occupancy is typically held on the code of when it was opened. So that means that any fire code or building code would probably go with 1978 or 79. Now, it's not full of knob and tube, if that's what you're inferring. And I don't know if you've seen the knob and tube there. Have you been to the house to see the knob and tube?
I was told by Mr. Klinkenberg, Commissioner Klinkenberg gave me an update on what was going on in the house.
Okay, so the knob and tube exists on the 3rd floor, which feeds a fuse box that only operates the 3rd floor. We're not allowed to occupy the 3rd floor. Our license only allows us to occupy the 1st and 2nd floors. 3rd floor is an empty, open space that we cannot use. I tried to use it. I wanted to remodel it and make it a game room, but there's not a fire escape, so we can't do that. So the knob and tube exists only on the 3rd floor. The other parts of the house have what's called Romex wiring, which is a 2-wire system, not a ground, and so that's what we'll be trying to replace. So it's got a 200 amp service in it right now. It's fully breakered. It's fully wired. Many of the wires, as they improved over the years, have been replaced, but some of them haven't. And so the key with that home and why the cost is so much is it's difficult when those big homes have these wires that are placed between the joists to tear the ceilings up or fish those wires in there. So that's why the extensive costs. So is it unsafe? No. We have a fire alarm system. We have a fire protection system. We plan fire drills and practice those all the time. They're passed by the fire marshal's inspections annually, and they're also passed by the inspections that are done by the city fire department. So, I don't think that it's unsafe at all. And I brought dead people out of fires that have been unsafe, so I know what I'm talking about. And so I don't want to see anybody hurt there either.
Good. That's a good thing.
Yeah, it is.
Do we know if DCS knows the current condition of the electrical in there, though?
No, we don't know.
Okay.
It doesn't come up in discussion except when they inspected us, we walked them through the house.
Has an inspection occurred since you've taken over?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
DCS has inspected them and certified them.
Every year.
It's never been out of inspection.
What about, Commissioner Morris, do you know, in the county, a multi-residential facility like this, if it came online today, would it pass code and be able to be open? Do you know?
No, I can't speak to that.
Okay. So again, I mean, I appreciate what everybody's trying to do, and we're trying to.
What are you trying to do?
No, I think what you folks are trying to get this operation back up. I just want to make sure that in the haste to achieve these payments from DCS, that we don't rush something and then we jeopardize the health or well-being of the actual children that we're trying to help.
So we are rushing this for revenue. Is
I
that
don't,
what you're
I,
saying? We're
all I
rushing
hear
this for
about is how much
revenue.
money this is making the county. It's all I hear about. And then when we start to get into the weeds.
Well, I'm
and
sorry
we-
that you feel that way. We're doing this for children.
Well, then my concern for the children.
And these
is-
fees are not established by Vigo County. They're established by the Department of Child Services.
Well, Commissioner Morris, I'm not going to let you stand there and say that I don't care about the children when I actually am asking about the children's well-being right now. So I will stand with the questions that I ask. I think that they're valid questions. I was presented last at the Sunshine meeting. I asked specific questions in regards. I don't think you were here at the time. I asked specific questions as to how quickly we could move at Rose Hill. That timeline has moved all over the place. It has nothing to do with the actual expenditure of the funds to fix the property. It has a lot more to do with when would we want to appropriate the money to hire the employees, which I don't know, again, if you were here at the last Sunshine meeting.
appropriate
But-
the
but-
money,
But the point of it is did it make sense to go ahead and get the employees hired and have them sit around if we can't put the children in there when we know January 1st, the Budget Committee's meeting, and they can approve the amount of money for the employees? So I was taking a look at it from the standpoint, do we want to wait till January, let the Budget Committee put it into their scenario? And I asked a timeline. I was specifically told that we were talking 30 days. And that's obviously probably not going to happen, considering that not only do we have to wait for the repair work to be done, we have to wait for DCS to come in and approve. We've got to wait for the background checks on the employees. There is definitely a timeline here that starts to make more sense for the Budget Committee to handle this, and that we would start January 1st. But my last comment, and I'm going to turn it back over to the president. My concern is the children. And when we're talking about mold or mildew, I don't care whether it's a little bit or a lot. We don't want to take children out of an unsafe environment and put them into an unsafe environment on our dime. Same situation with the electrical. I don't want to see that we have a fire and all of a sudden we have problems with children. I wasn't even aware that we needed to do this electrical upgrade until this month. So I don't know how long the county has known that we had a questionable situation with the electrical at the group home, but now it's been brought to this body's attention for our review, and I'm asking very, very simple questions about the safety of the children. I'll stand by those questions. Thank you, Mr. President.
Did
Can I
you have something
respond?
else? Pardon me?
Can I respond?
Yes.
There are many buildings that exist in the county that are not up to code because they were built or operated prior to code being in existence. Example for you is Cimerals. The Cimerals changed to Barbasco. But when it did, we went to them and said, we'd like for you to put a sprinkler system in, we'd like for you to put some fire alarm systems in, and make it a little bit safer than what it was. And they were not required to do that because the occupancy type, which is an assembly, is the same that it was under Cimerals as it is under Barbasco. So they didn't have to pay a lot of money, 50 grand or more, putting a sprinkler system in. And so the state, in their infinite wisdom, believes that the important thing to do is to allow folks that own property that if you're maintaining the same type of occupancy, that when it was constructed is the code you have to follow. And so, you know, this building became a multiple family dwelling when it was a fraternity house or when it was an apartment complex and then made into a group home. And as such, any upgrades have been within and passed for 40 or more years, DCS inspections, state fire marshal inspections, City of Terre Haute fire inspections, State Department of Health inspections. And so What happened was we had a couple of small electrical situations, removed a light, saw that the wiring wasn't good, replaced the wiring. So that brought some concern to the commissioners, and so they wanted to get a quote on having it completely rewired to guarantee it'd be brought up to 2014 and to provide a better and more safer environment. Is it unsafe? No. I wouldn't allow kids to stay there if it was. The haste to move forward, and we're not even on the topic of the employees yet, but you can't live in the house till you build it. So, you know, we need to get this appropriated so we can do the work on the house and then so we can move forward. Whether the budget committee recommends to the full council to approve my extra 5 employees in January, or whether you decide to do it 2 months ahead of time, it doesn't matter to me. But if we wait till January, then we're not gonna be able to take any kids till March. Because why? The same thing. We're gonna have a week of advertising. Well, wait a minute, now we got holidays in January, and now we're gonna have to have a week of interviewing. Well, hold on a minute, we got other things going on. And so, you know, until you can shake your head all you want, but until you stand in my shoes, you don't understand the things we're going through. And I've invited you and other people down to the house since you've been in office, you've never showed up. So I think the responsibility of finding out whether my house is safe lies with your inability to come down there and see for yourself.
Norm, I will add that I think your employees back there were saying the house has been inspected twice. I don't know what that time period is, but
I don't know if
it
that's
sounds like it has
bad.
been. Just for the record.
I'm a little shorter than Norm, so if you can hear me. Kara Gurovich, Treatment / Licensing Director for the group home. Just to elaborate on the 2 inspections, part of DCS is that we have quarterly inspections. So we had our initial inspection in February, around February 16th, when we officially got the approval to get the house running. And they gave us that first inspection. And then we had our second inspection in May. It was mid-May. And so now we're waiting, obviously, for, then we have 3rd quarter inspection, 4th quarter inspection, obviously. So every 3 months, we do have a DCS walkthrough where our licensing team comes through and does a full walk through the house. They take pictures, they look at everything. And they do that every single quarter, without fail. It's a one we don't plan for. They just show up and we're ready. So I think that answers your question.
It does. Thank you.
So I forgot about the quarterly inspections, sorry.
Councilman Anderson?
I think the one on Rose Hill, when you do a remediation, nobody can live in the home, and because you're disturbing the mold, and doing the joists, which I'm sure is caused from that. So I think that has to be done first.
Yeah, absolutely.
We know that, yeah.
And I couldn't agree with you more. I
Yeah.
just didn't,
Yeah,
you know, wasn't
but-
aware that we couldn't.
Right.
So if we can't have kids, I get that. I just hope you understand the process by hiring people.
Right. And to whoever's going to do remediation and put the French drain in and all that, that's all connected to the house, and it'll keep anything else from happening. So I understand that. And so the knob and tube, you say it runs to a breaker box? Or
Fuse.
A fuse box?
On the 2nd floor in what was called the night guard room,
Right.
which is a room that is like in the center of the house, and the bedrooms are off of that. There's a 4-fuse
Yeah.
box there that we know that the wire is spliced off of the 200-amp service from the basement, comes out the exterior of the building, goes into the 2nd floor, and then feeds that box. Then that box feeds some of the bedrooms in the 3rd floor. And so that's all being replaced.
And that can be disconnected if
Yes.
they could, if it's
Yeah.
just to feeding a fuse box.
And our
They
plan
can
on
take
the
that out of
3rd
your
floor
main
is just
box.
to leave it at it's a dead end with a switch that, you know, one light to look in. It's really unused portion that we can't do anything with, so.
Okay.
There is nothing further. I will take a motion.
Just, excuse me, I'd like to to make the motion, but I want to preface it just a minute because, sorry. Just a quick question. Some of the things that you were talking about, I'm not sure if, are they included in the 7,000 or 76,700, or did some of that bleed over to the 48,550? Because like the building repair, is that something different than
So the 76.7 should take care of the electric,
electrical, the mold remediation?
the air conditioning
Air
units,
conditioning?
and the crawl space work.
Okay,
Including the
And-
French
and-
drain?
including the French drain?
Does that include the French drain? Norm, I'm sorry.
The French,
Possibly.
okay. And the excavation
Supposed to
of-
be, now some of that won't.
Okay,
Some
that's
of
in
that
there.
will come
Okay.
out of the
Oh,
40,
the other one, okay.
out of the
That's what I thought.
48.
Okay,
I just, the crawl space guy couldn't tell me what all we would really need. We increased the estimate a little bit, about 8,000 from our first one. It originally came in about 16-something to do all the work that I mentioned. But then some additional work that Commissioner Klinkenbeard wanted done to completely encapsulate the crawl space, so that used to be you
With the
put
vapor barrier.
vents in, and now they don't want vents because that lets water in. So, you know, to completely encapsulate it, make it completely dry, it increased the base quote. And then an afterthought, well, we have a sump pump where you're pumping it. And then everybody looked at each
Okay,
other.
that was
That's
my
where the
French
question.
drain came in.
And that's the French drain. And so then I'm like, well, I've already put it into the auditor's office. We can't increase that. I'm just gonna eat it out of my non-reverting fund. So whatever those cost, we may not be able to do all the things we wanna do with that non-reverting fund. But, because obviously this takes precedence. We'll
Sure.
get that thing, water taken care of first. And then what's left over, then we'll fix what we can.
having said all that, I make a motion to approve.
Motion by Councilwoman Wilson,
Second.
second by Councilwoman Wager. Discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Randy Gentry,
Aye.
Nancy Alsup,
Aye.
Brenda Wilson,
Aye.
David Thompson,
Aye.
Brad Anderson,
Aye.
Vicky Wager,
Aye.
Steve Ellis.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Up next is the additional appropriation 2025-41.
48,000.
Is that the 48? That,
Carpenter Home startup fee, yes.
yep, so I just don't have that. So, Mr. President, members of the council, the things that we would like to do with this is, you know, first off, and I think it was discussed last week, I may have passed some of these things out. Some of these things came from the auditor's office. I just want to make sure that you guys have them,
Thank you.
which shows some revenue streams. And so, one of the first pages I gave you, first package, it talks about what our DCS billing is. And they've got that money for years. It's not like something that just happened. It's been all over the place as far as what our fees are. Some of the years have been $200-300 per child per day. Recently, they've been a little bit higher than that. We have an estimate that next year, through our cost analysis, that our cost could be about $1,130-ish, $10 either direction. So right now, our costs are $1,038 a day, and our costs are, what we bill DCS for is $1,030 a day. Next year, it's gonna go to that $1,130 or something. The year after that, it could drop to $200. We don't know. The county has funded this home, which is why I gave you the history for years. I would hope that no matter what happens with the DCS money, which I pray keeps coming in to help offset the costs, that we'll continue to provide for the group home so that we can, or continue to fund the group home so that these guys can continue to help kids. You know, I'm in my twilight. I don't know, I may be here for a couple more years, and after that, I'm gonna go fishing. Or like Mr. Gentry said, may go on a beach, have a cocktail. But the future of this is important for me to be able to make sure that there's a place for kids to go that have been neglected or abused. And so, right now, the ordinance that the commissioners passed January 15th of this year established a non-reverting fund that allows for 75% of any captured revenue that we receive to go to the general fund, and that and the other 25% would go to a non-reverting fund that could be utilized at the group home only. Not too dissimilar than what we did at the juvenile center a couple of years ago, again with Commissioner Morris and the other people that were there when that went down. So what we have now in our pockets is $88,502.46. Last month, we billed $197,000, just last month. So but that won't get to us for a couple months, and we still got those kids. So money's still coming in, money's still being generated. We're still trying to help offset those costs. And once again, I don't think that's our goal. Government isn't in place to make a profit, but if you happen to have a department that's able to help offset those costs and burden less on the taxpayers, I think that's important. So, as of right now, I think we've billed like $674,000, and we've spent what Judy had up on the display, I think at the budget meetings was correct. We spent about $603,000. So we billed more than we've spent. So that helped, that's good. Some of that money obviously is going to go into this non-reverting, and this $48,550 is for that. Now, what am I going to do with that money? Well, one of the things that we're going to try to do is I've got a quote for duct cleaning. I'm going to clean all the ducts of all the furnaces because I heard that there may be mold under there. My concern with the children's safety were such that I felt like that, I have a kid that had asthma, so I want to make sure that they don't breathe things they shouldn't breathe. So we're going to have the duct cleaning done. That's something extra that I wasn't planning, but we've got a quote for that.
Mr. Loudermilk, in the real estate business, we call that a substance.
Who?
We call it a substance,
Okay.
because you don't know what kind of mold it is.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to get rid of the substance.
So you sell that house.
That's in the ducts. So.
We call those substances too, so.
Yeah, okay.
Rather like something different, So, so this is like $850 that we'll be spending. So some of that stuff, Ms. Wilson, about,
Yeah.
I like to have $48,550 to do all kinds of stuff.
Sure.
What I can get done and leverage and get donated or whatever, then that's what we'll do. But obviously some things like this are important. Some things we made notes of is some of that's for food because it wasn't provided in the budget. So we're going to use this DCS money for food for the kids. Furniture, there's no furniture. Well, there's a couple pieces of furniture, but we need to get some furniture. We'd like to get some new beds or some different beds. These are mattresses on slats. We'd like to get a box spring. Nobody wants to sleep on that. Kitchen upgrade is something we don't necessarily need. It's a little bit small. We'd like to see something happen there, but it's not an extra thing. So probably $15,000 of that would go towards some of these other, like the grading or the trench drain or anything else that we may need. Hygiene supplies, about $700. We have a shed that needs replaced. The doors are off of it, so maintenance has to drag a lawnmower and all their equipment up every time. We'd like to get a lawnmower to keep on site so we can do that. That's something we can get like out of next year's budget. We don't necessarily need it right now, but I put in $2,900 for that because I got a quote at the same place I bought the other one to have one brought up there. The pad's already there. We just have maintenance tear it down and we can put one up. But if we don't, we don't. Wearing apparel. When the kids started school, we bought them 2 outfits to start school and some shoes. Some of the kids didn't have shoes when they came, so we wanted to make sure they had some clothes to wear for school. Bed linen, some of that stuff, obviously, kids have accidents, so we need to have extra bed linen. We have one set. Realtors Association were amazing, donated a lot of stuff to us to help get that house open, which my original request was over $63,000, and I reduced it down because of some things that were donated. curtains, lamps. We put a dehumidifier on here, but hopefully we won't need that because there's supposed to be a big one in the crawl space to handle this, so we could take that out. Again, the driveway, it's powder. It wasn't maintained like it needs to be, so we would like to replace that. But again, guttering, we've got that on here to pay for that. And then, of course, I said the duct cleaning and sanitation for the substance. So that's what the $48,550 will be, placed into 4 different line items: institutional supplies, building repair, contractual services, and furniture and fixtures. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you. Councilwoman Wilson?
I just have a quick question that's kind of off the subject here. What are the ages of the children that you have in there currently?
So we're licensed from 10 to 17, 10 to 18, but we,
Or is that something
11,
you can't answer? Okay.
11 to 17. So we have kids that range from 11 years old to 17, from elementary school to high school. You know, one of the things that happened in the 70s was that Joe Anderson, who was a judge back then, tried to increase the foster care program, and it failed because there just wasn't enough of that, because no one would take teens. You know, the foster little kids, they don't think there's a problem, but you know how teenagers are. So that's the majority of our work is dealing with kids. And so we've got kids that have had jobs. We're working on getting their IDs so they can get a job. Had one working at Sonic out on 46 and trying to get their permits so they can work towards getting their driver's license, things like that. So there are some things that we're doing positive for the teens that come to us. So yeah. CASA, I got to throw a shout out to them. They gave us backpacks and school startup supplies for all the kids, so that was good. And then the Terrell Police Department donated 100 packs of school supplies and things that they passed out at the first responder event. So that was nice of them to bring that stuff down to us. So without the donations, this would have been a lot more.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? With that, I will take a motion.
Motion to approve. I'll second.
Motion to approve by Councilwoman Wilson.
Wager.
Wager, sorry, I was looking at you. Motion, or second by Councilwoman Alsop. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Randy Gentry,
Aye.
Nancy Alsop.
Aye.
Brenda Wilson,
Aye.
Steve Ellis, Vicky Wager.
Aye.
Brad Anderson,
Aye.
David Thompson.
Aye. Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you very much.
Amend salary ordinance 2025-18, group homes, Carpenter Homes staffing. Is on
Mr. President,
page-
members of the council, we talked about this last last week. Mr. Gentry alluded to it in his comments, and all this simply is in order to staff the home, I need 6 employees. We have an extra employee at the group home on 6th Street now. They would be moving to the north home. I need 5 more in order to staff it. That staffs 2 people on day shift and 1 person on nights. And to be very honest with you, 1 person would work 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., 1 person would work 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., then we'd have an overlapping shift. It would be from 10 a.m. till 10 p.m., which are kind of the busy times. If they're out of school, they're very busy because they're awake. If they're in school, and that takes us to the time we're picking them up from school, taking them to therapy or appointments, taking them to work or extracurricular activities, which we, obviously encourage them to be involved in, and then getting them to bed, showers in bed. And then they would go home, and then someone would be there overnight. So it's no increase of any administrative staff. It's only increasing of the youth care specialists. The figure that was given was based upon in March 14th, that letter, that's obviously wrong. So it's based upon the deadline for the council meeting. If we were to hire them that day, how much would we need to the end of the year? So, it's also based on insurance that's for a family plan. So we've not only taken their salaries, but we've also taken PERF, FICA, and insurance for a family plan, multiply it times 5 people, and then put the total amount based on the day that I filed the letter to the auditor. Obviously, Mr. Gentry, you know, we don't know exactly when those people are going to be hired. As Mr. Anderson said, after the construction has been approved, or finished, I'm sorry, and DCS, you know, decides to open the house, and we get our background investigations done, and our fingerprinting and all of that. So even though we may be approving $250,000, we're not gonna spend near that. It's gonna be, you know, a month or so before we're able to do that. And you know, we have to set lofty goals. My goal was to take our first kid by February 1st, and we took him February 24th. And so, you know, my goal on here is to take kids, you know, by the 1st of October. And so that would only mean 2 months of salaries, or 3 months of salaries, I'm sorry, October, November, December. We're looking at about 4 months of salaries, 5 months on here. So you could amend this to lower it if you choose, or you could just trust me that I'll get him hired when the work's done and get him trained in background and get him on board so that we can fund the place for next year also.
Councilwoman Wilson?
Okay, I've got a quick question. The numbers that you're talking about, is that the 173, 542, 12? So that's, so
No.
we're talking 2025,
Yeah,
we
that's
Not
the
the
second
paper I
page.
got.
42. Okay.
Maybe Brady can help me because
Oh, so we're talking about 2025, 42, not 18, right?
That's the appropriation to hire,
Okay.
Yeah.
and then, or
Okay.
the salary
We know
ordinance,
kids, it just was-
and then the other one's the appropriation, right?
So right
Is that
now, we're
right, Brady?
dealing with just the hiring part of it and then the salaries later?
For this
Yes.
amount of employees,
Yes.
for 4 months, it would cost $173,542.12.
The other to appropriate.
I think
the
Norm got a
positions.
little confused whenever I sent you the advertisement. The way we advertise it in the paper, it has everything from the group home account, from the county general fund. So
Okay.
so that included your 70,
Okay.
70-some thousand building
76,000
credit.
and the 48?
We know.
Yeah, you were including that in your sum, and I was just
So
correcting it
that's-
for the documents here.
Yeah, sorry.
No.
So 173,000 is right. It's budgeted for this amount of employees for 4
And
months.
that's for how many months?
4 months
So
is what I
that's
budgeted.
December, November, October, September, and I doubt we'll
Mm-hmm.
probably only be there 3 months. And that's it, that's,
Very
you know,
good.
And if it isn't spent, it goes back to the
Back to
general
the-
fund.
yeah, and if you don't, yeah, that's the whole good thing. It's appropriated directly into the salary line items for payroll, FICA, PERP, and insurance. So if we hire 2 people that are on a single plan, it saves the money, and then whatever we don't spend goes back to the general fund.
I would think so. Let me ask Michael. Okay.
Sorry.
One more question for Mr. Wright. Do we need to amend the salary first before we approve? What order do we need to do this?
Which is what, 2025-18.
18 or?
It's amending the salary.
I
The
just-
next one, 2025-42, is approving the additional
Yeah.
appropriation.
You would amend it first and then
Yeah.
Okay.
adopt these.
Amend the
amendments.
salary ordinance and then additional appropriation?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that because they're, the amount of employees we're asking for? Is that what it is?
Mr. President,
Go ahead.
So, just to be clear, 2025-18 is amending
The
salary
salary
ordinance.
ordinance.
Youth specialist, it says 5, $22.53 per hour. Youth care part-time specialist, it says 3. I think that's a 14.17 per hour.
Right, right.
Is that correct?
Yep,
And the amount of employees is correct?
yes.
So
8
5 full-time
altogether, 5 and 3.
Yeah.
Mr. President,
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Wilson, or Wager?
motion to approve amended salary ordinance 25-18.
We have a motion to approve by Councilwoman Wager, 2025-18. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
And a second by Councilwoman Alsop. Discussion?
Mr. President,
Councilman Gentry?
want to explain my vote on this. I believe that we're getting the cart before the horse. I think in this particular case, we need to get both the facilities up to operational code, approved and operational before we discuss the idea of adding employees. And while I fully appreciate the fact that any appropriation would revert back to the general fund, it seems that until they open up the house, especially on Rose Hill, and we know exactly what they're getting into and how long this is going to take, it seems like we're prematurely adding staff. Again, don't knock the process, just wanted to explain my vote. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Randy Gentry,
No.
Nancy Alsop,
Aye.
Brenda Wilson,
Aye.
Steve Ellis, Vicky Wager,
Aye.
Brad Anderson,
Aye.
David Thompson.
Aye. Motion passes 5-1.
Mr. President, Council, on behalf of the group homes and the commissioners, we appreciate your support in these matters. Thank you.
We've got one more.
Got one more.
Got one more.
Can't get away with that.
Thought I was done.
The next one is the additional appropriation 2025-42.
Mr.
That
President,
That is approving the salary. Yes,
I
Councilwoman Wager.
make a motion to approve additional appropriation 2025-42 in the amount of $173,542 and 12 cents.
Motion by Councilwoman Wager
Second.
and a second by Councilwoman Wilson. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Randy Gentry,
No.
Nancy Alsop,
Aye.
Brenda Wilson,
Aye.
Steve Ellis, Vicky Wager,
Aye.
Brad Anderson,
Aye.
David Thompson.
Aye. Motion passes 5-1.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay.
Up next is additional appropriation 2025-43, Riley Fire District. It is on page 12 of our booklet.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm Vern Tincher, President of the Riley Fire Protection District Board. They elect me every year because they know I will make sure we do what DLGF and Gateway requires. We submit our budget, we approve our budget early in the year and send it to Gateway and they review it. Our treasurer is Jeff Fisher, part owner of Sackrider. So Sackrider advises us. So apparently they discovered that Gateway left out $59,100 for our special cum fund. And we get a tax rate that generates the levy for us to contract with the fire department. I discussed it with Councilman Gentry, and we don't think it's an appropriation from the county that DLGF and Gateway will give us a rate increase to get a levy for this amount of money. Am I correct?
What? I thought that there had been an omission of a debt service payment from your special cumulative fire fund. So money that you were supposed to spend this year, it's not that, it's more just for the tax rate for next year? Then yeah.
Probably as much.
With that information, yeah, I mean,
Mr. Wright, is that tax rate of next year, or are we correcting last year?
that's the question I've got, Councilman Gentry, is I don't know what Jeff Fisher explained needs to happen, but I assumed that the request was to put something back in their budget that was intentionally omitted by DLGF.
Just
And so
correct
they
me,
needed
clerical error, right?
permission to spend money that had been budgeted but had not been recognized by DLGF. If that assumption is incorrect on my part, then obviously it would alter my analysis.
So what should the motion be? Does your?
I'm not clear on what's needed. I mean, I don't know which of those two is correct.
We just have to appropriate the money, that's, and then they do whatever they have to do.
I think if you approve our budget, then DLGF and Gateway will increase our rate to give us the levy for that.
That
That's
would
what I'm hoping.
that would make
That's
sense
what
to me.
it is.
If you are confirming that there was I don't know that it would, change anything that's happened thus far, but for the DLGF to confirm that this was the appropriate amount for 2025, that got modified in some fashion at the end of last year, and we're correcting that, then it would, that would make sense, and you could approve this request.
Mr. President,
Councilman Gentry?
I'd like to make the motion. Are you ready for that, sir?
Yes.
I make a motion to correct the record to reflect that the budget that was appropriated last year should include, one second. Should include 59,100, so that DLGF can do the appropriate fix and get Riley back in operation on this.
It's a special kill fund.
Is that correct?
Yes. No,
Or is
Devin
it
just
an
showed me
amendment?
the letter from Jeff, and that's what that's for.
That's what it,
Yes.
okay, correct.
I second it.
Motion by Councilman Gentry and a second by Councilwoman Olson. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Randy Gentry.
Aye.
Nancy Alsop.
Aye.
Brenda Wilson.
Aye.
Steve Ellis.
Not here.
Vicky Wager.
Aye.
Brad Anderson.
Aye.
David Thompson.
Aye. Motion passes 6-0.
Mr. President and Council, thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry I had to wait so long.
Additional appropriation 2025-44, maintenance budget reimbursement of community corrections. Page 13. I think Mike was here to discuss this. Spoke about it a little bit last week, correct?
No big deal, just
Parking spots, and I can't remember what the building repair was.
The 7,500 is the parking,
parking, yeah.
coming out of the commissioners.
That was for, County 6.
The 20,396.
Do you remember what that was for?
Yeah.
Wasn't that for the court?
That was the court.
Right, court.
This was
Building
for the
maintenance.
court.
Reimburse the maintenance department?
For a portion of the
For-
44th that they did at community.
Yes, it was.
Right,
Okay.
you're correct.
Thank you, Judy.
All right.
Motion to approve.
Motion
Second.
approved by Councilman Gentry, second by Councilwoman Wager. Roll call, please.
Randy Gentry.
Aye.
Nancy Alsop.
Aye.
Brenda Wilson.
Aye.
Steve Ellis. Vicky Wager.
Aye.
Brad Anderson.
Aye.
David Thompson.
Aye. Motion passes 6-0. Additional appropriation 2025-45, Prosecutor's Office. New vehicle and new equipment, page 14.
Good evening, Rob Roberts, Chief Deputy Prosecutor. Thank you for allowing my absence last week while I was at a conference. But this is an appropriation for seized asset money that has already been deposited into the account that the Drug Task Force hopes to utilize for updating some outdated equipment.
Oh, it's not for a new Jaguar?
I'll make a motion we approve.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Anderson, second by Councilwoman Wager. Discussion?
Mr. President, what equipment?
Primarily, it's for a new vehicle and for new firearms, both long rifles and pistols. We've obtained bids. Obviously, the vehicle goes through the state purchasing process. We don't get bids on that, but we sought out bids for both for all of the different firearms and equipment. Some of those were, the best bid was from Top Guns and Mr. Ellis's business. So the handguns will be purchased through that. Another was a different agency, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, I could look it up on my phone, that gave us the best quote for the long rifles, and we'll be purchasing through there.
Where's the vehicle gonna come from? Do we know?
I can't remember specifically.
Is it local or?
It is not, because because of the state.
It goes to the states,
The
yeah.
way the state bidding process works, my understanding, and I'm not intimately familiar with the process, but this is about probably the 6th or 7th vehicle that they've purchased with seized asset money through the years, and it's always gone through this same business. I think they're in Martinsville, but I'm not.
I think it's Bloomington.
Bloomington is-
Bloomington
yeah,
is the one we
Bloomington's
just
what
buy
I
all the
was thinking.
vehicles through.
So it's one of those Tesla tank things then, right? Yeah, okay. Sorry.
Any further discussion? Is that, okay. Roll call vote, please.
Randy Gentry.
Aye.
Nancy Alsop.
Aye.
Brenda Wilson.
Aye.
Steve Ellis. Vicky Wager.
Aye.
Brad Anderson.
Here.
David Thompson.
Aye. Motion passes 6-0. Honorary resolutions, there are none. Resolutions relating to fiscal policies of the council, there are none. Appointments, there are none. Public comment.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mark Collins. I'm the Chief Clinical Officer for the Hamilton Center. I wanted to come tonight to provide an update on a couple of things, one regarding our services and one regarding our annual report. So as the council may be aware, obviously every year we have an annual report that we complete. It's due to you guys, it's a requirement of us, the Indiana Code, the Division of Mental Health and Addiction. We're working on fiscal year 25, as that just ended in June of this year. And we are to have that out to the council and the commissioners by December 31st of every year. So we're working on that now, putting it together, so you guys will get a copy of that, as you do every single year. Wanted to talk briefly about our services. I know we've been here for a while, so I will be brief, guys. One of the things that I want to make sure to accentuate is that Hamilton Center was selected as one of 8 community mental health centers to be in a pilot demonstration with the state of Indiana. Last July, not this past July, but July prior to that, Indiana became a demonstration state for CCBHC, which refers to Certified Community Behavioral Health Clinics. This is a whole different delivery system, a different model of providing care that the community mental health center system has not provided in the past. It includes mobile crisis and crisis receiving and stabilization services. So I wanted to ensure that everyone was aware that, one, we provide mobile crisis to all of the counties that we serve. We serve 11 counties in central and west central Indiana. We serve approximately 12,000 individuals a year. That mobile crisis team that's on our 628th Avenue serves all of those locations minus Indianapolis and Hendricks County. It's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We have staff around the clock. You can walk into our center to be served, or we will come to you in a mobile unit to serve you as well. And that includes any consumer, any non-consumer that may be in crisis as well. We have a partnership with 988 as well, as I'm sure you're aware, the 988 number now for mental health crisis, much like 911 is for medical crisis. So we're hooked into that system, and they will refer to us when individuals from our service areas call 988. The first person they're going to call is us to provide that mobile crisis service. The second thing I wanted to update on is with the CCBHC model, and we've always maintained this as a corporation. I've had the privilege of being at the Hamilton Center now for 21 years. I'm not from Vigo County. I'm actually from Cass County and then Putnam County. And then I went to college here in Vigo County and stayed after I graduated. I've had the privilege of working at this organization now for the 21 years, going on 22. And we do not turn anyone away. I want to make sure that that is front and center when we talk about our services. Annually, in fiscal year 24, we get $4 million in charity care. That means uncompensated care. Individuals coming in, no insurance, or maybe the insurance that you have doesn't cover the services that you're wanting. We have processes, a clinical necessity application, the charity care application, that allows those individuals to still be served at no cost to them. Of that $4 million, more than $2 million was just Vigo County in uncompensated care in fiscal year '24. The numbers seem to be trending about the same for fiscal year '25. Again, it's not yet finalized, but as soon as it is finalized, we'll get that report out to you guys. We will come and present that information as well to give you an update on kind of the full spectrum of what we do as an organization day in and day out, and not just Vigo County, but the other 10 counties that we serve. Happy to answer any questions. Just wanted to make sure that we provided that information to you guys this evening.
Councilman Gentry?
Let me ask you, the $2 million unpaid care in Vigo County, how is that rendered? How would one access that if they were in need?
So, try to answer that. If you have insurance or do not have insurance, it doesn't matter. We're not going to turn you away. When you come in for a service.
Can you, like a walk-in?
Yes, ma'am. Or ongoing services. So,
Okay.
as an example, let's say you come in and your insurance that you currently have doesn't cover a specific service. Let's say it's therapy. If you're in need of that service, we will do a charity care application or a clinical necessity, meaning it's necessary for you to have those services. And we will adjust that charge off every time you come in. We do this obviously to the tune of a little over almost $4.1 million annually. And a majority of that, because obviously Vigo County is our home county, it's our largest county. We serve 4,500 individuals from Vigo County each year. That's where the majority of those adjustments come from.
And emergency mental care, talk about that.
Yeah, so the model, the Certified Community Behavioral Health Clinic model is you go to them instead of them come to us. That's been the model for years. We were stagnant in one place, and if you were in crisis, our expectation was you come to us. That's no longer the expectation. The expectation is that we go to you. So if you're at the Motel 6, if you're at home, if you're in the school system, if you're at your employer, Great Dane as an example, we will come to you. We send our behavioral health professionals there to assess. We do telehealth services at that time, where you can see a therapist right then and there. We get what you need as far as next steps, whether that be inpatient hospitalization or outpatient treatment. We get that appointment scheduled, and then obviously they need to follow up with that appointment, and we also will follow up with them as well if they do not show up for that appointment.
How does your mobile center work? I mean, somebody calls and you send the mobile, who comes and what do you do?
Yeah, so on our mobile, we have a therapist that's on call, that's a telehealth. We use certified peer recovery specialists and care managers as well. So you can call us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If we have the availability, so for example, we have one mobile unit. So if we're out helping Councilwoman Wilson with some issue and you call, we still will come. It's just we can't do it right then. But we then take that call, get the situation, we assess for safety to ensure that it's safe for us to go out to that location, and then we dispatch that mobile unit in a van with all the resources that they need to get that person hooked into and engaged in services at the moment of their crisis, as opposed to expecting them to come in when their crisis has resolved itself.
I appreciate you coming because just candidly, we've not had the best relationship. And, you know, we've had folks come here and be in mental crisis actually, and we had to call the sheriff to bring them to you guys. We need to work on this relationship.
Absolutely. We've been serving this community for a long time, and we have a lot of really good people who are dedicated to helping individuals every single day. The reason I've stayed in Vigo County and here at the Hamilton Center is because I only want to do one thing in life. I want to help other people. And so we employ 500 people who care. And so, yes, absolutely. Wanted to provide some information again and look forward to continuing to build that relationship.
Thanks for coming.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Councilwoman Wager. Councilman Gentry?
I'm gonna go home
One,
with him.
one of the questions that's popped up in various different conversations is how many beds do you have available at Hamilton Center?
So we have a 16-bed inpatient unit, acute mental health inpatient unit for adults. We have 30 group home beds for adults outpatient. So you're talking about long-term chronic mental health issues for the adults in the group homes, and you're talking about acute crisis stabilization for those individuals who need our 16-bed inpatient unit.
What kind of interactions do you have with, I guess I would say, county government entities? That could be anything from community corrections to the jail to, off the top of my head, any other, interactions? What services and what kind of communications? What's the interaction between you and the county?
So we have, I would say, a good relationship with most. There are some relationships that need improved. We interact, obviously, with the criminal justice system usually on a daily basis, whether it's us calling for well checks or individuals being emergency detention that are brought to the center. We have to work well with them. As part of our current mobile crisis team, we have a designated law enforcement drop-off area. So we want to get them back on the street. They have someone who's in a mental health crisis and not criminal activity. Bring them to us, drop them off, and then let them get back on the street to protect and serve. We interact with community corrections. We provide services there. We've provided services in the jail. We will often get calls to do assessments for inmates who were incarcerated as well. And again, we want to help and work with everybody.
So do you think that's, at this point, is there a possibility that there is just some breakdown in communications? Because there's people within the community that believe that you're turning people away. Obviously, everything that you're presenting, and I believe that Councilman Wager's correct. I mean, it's very refreshing to hear from you. But do you feel that, do you have enough services to, or enough people, enough staff to service the needs of this community?
Yeah, I can't answer the question about why. I'm not sure why. Obviously, if it's not well known, then there's probably an opportunity for improvement in communication. Yeah, we always, every organization right now is battling staffing issues, and we're not immune from that. But we have an army of individuals here in Vigo County and our surrounding counties who are ready to serve. So we do, and we continue to recruit and try to retain those individuals to help serve those communities.
What do you do when you're maxed out at 16 beds for the critical patients, and let's say Terre Haute PD drops off somebody that truly needs to stay? What do you do in those circumstances?
So we will work with the other acute psychiatric hospitals in the state, the entire state of Indiana, for both adults and kids. Even though our inpatient unit is for adults, if a kiddo comes in crisis, we're going to help get them to where they need to go. So oftentimes it's working with sometimes Union Hospital, sometimes internally us making phone calls to Harshawatt, to Indianapolis, to Evansville, all the way up to Maryville. And we coordinate that, and we ensure that that person gets there, whether we take them or whether we have them transported by ambulance. We ensure that they get the level of care that they need for their psychiatric crisis.
Thank you again for appearing tonight and answering some questions. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Any further? I will say, from my perspective, it is a relationship that needs to be repaired. I think where I became involved in this was at the beginning of the year when the report, maybe the 2024 report was given. I think at that time, and I may have my numbers messed up, but I think they said there were 20 police referrals and maybe 8 physician referrals, which I don't know, to be honest with you, how that can be accurate. We've got a bad mental health problem in Vigo County for sure. And on top of that, once that started, I've heard from other counties that are just as upset. So it's not just Vigo County. So that relationship, I think, I don't know how, I think actually coming to meetings, somebody that's knowledgeable that can come to meetings, can answer the questions that are presented is a huge step in that direction. Always in the past, it's been somebody that very seldom has an idea of what the meeting's even about. And I personally, I think that's been done on purpose. So I too appreciate you coming tonight and speaking with the council.
I appreciate it. The only thing I'll say, Mr. President, is I don't believe for a second it's on purpose. We try to get our staff involved in the community so that they learn these things. Sometimes not maybe the ideal situation. I understand that, but definitely not intentional. But I do appreciate your time, and yes, again, we're ready. We want to make sure that we serve all of our communities to the best of our ability and to the highest standards of quality.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Would you entertain
Councilwoman
a
Wager?
motion to adjourn?
I would. Motion by Councilwoman Wager,
Second.
second by Councilwoman